Because only before.
Thank you.
That's one of the county. This would be you.
Okay.
And then.
I did read to the township and sent those pictures today about the driveway. And I asked them if they gave millings to homeowners.
Okay.
I didn't hear anything yet.
We're going to call the meeting to order. The Pledge of Allegiance.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Silence your oil change eye at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, where you can walk your expert change your oil right from your car. Thanks for coming in. And finish in about.
Well, please.
Ken, are you watching the news yet?
No.
Ken,
Yep.
bring her in or go ahead.
Here. President Ganant.
Here.
Commissioner Long.
Here.
Thank you.
We have a few announcements. We had an executive session held before this meeting regarding personnel matters. And I have a few remarks I want to say before we get going into public comment. I want to review our public comment and meeting decorum policies to ensure everyone has an opportunity to be heard and that township business can be conducted efficiently, respectfully, and in accordance with the law. We welcome public participation and values inputs from residents and members of the public. To ensure an orderly meeting and an accurate public record, all comments must be made from the podium after being recognized by the chair. And please state your name and your municipality for the record before you begin your remarks. If you're unable to come to the podium due to mobility limitations or other physical conditions, just let us know and we'll have a microphone delivered to you at your chair. The first public comment period on the agenda is the opportunity for anyone to address the board on matters relating to township business, whether it's on the agenda or not. And speakers are limited to one opportunity in the beginning of 3 minutes. We've had some people come up twice in the beginning. You don't get 3 minutes every time you come up. You're allowed to come up once for whatever you want to talk about for 3 minutes. After that, once the general public comment period is done, we proceed with the agenda. And during the agenda items, discussions, comments are limited to township residents, property owners, and other stakeholders that have a direct interest in the matter before the board. Comments during those portions of the meeting must be related to the agenda item under consideration. And please wait to be recognized before speaking. Without recognition, speaking from the audience, interrupting speakers, engaging in side conversations, shouting, and repeatedly speaking after your opportunity has concluded, it will not be permitted. That is disruptive to the meeting. We welcome different viewpoints, criticism of our actions, and robust public discussion. However, all participants must conduct themselves in a manner that allows the board to conduct township business and allows others to be heard. The content of a person's comments will not be the basis for any ruling. Only conduct that disrupts the orderly operation of the meeting will be addressed. If you exceed your allotted time or otherwise violate the rules, I will rule you out of order and direct you to please conclude your remarks. And I ask that everybody just follow the rules, because we don't, continued disruption, I would have to ask you to leave the meeting, and we don't want to do that. So I appreciate everybody's cooperation, courtesy, and respect for one another, and working together, we can ensure that everybody's heard and the township conducts the business at hand. Thank you. And before we do that, I just want to make a motion to approve the agenda. Yes, this is part of our agenda policy and we've never done it before. And we should approve it before we get going. Can I have a second? Everybody's had a chance to look at it, right? All those in favor? Aye.
Nay.
Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carried. Is there any public comment? Cheryl? No, I did that. Do that.
Gerald Parks. I've been a resident for 38 years, taxpayer. Okay. Summary. Due to the township's failure to enforce their zoning ordinances, for the last 3 years, we've had no quality of life between Kevin's Way and Ruby Lane. Our quality of life and our property values have been destroyed. It started with the kennel, with them not following the application fee about the deed restrictions. And that went on to cause like 8 times to the magistrates. Then zoning took them, the kennel people, because we were told, oh yeah, if they violate the rules, they'll go. And then zoning lost the case with video and witnesses. And then zoning refused to enforce the zoning ordinance to keep the dogs on the back of the house, which resulted in us having to go to the magistrate's office, I think 8 times, district court once. Now that's morphed to the core 5 stuff. I've had 50 blasts to my house. I had my carpenter grandsons there over the weekend. They were appalled at the amount of damage in my house from nails popping and stress stuff. The easement that was given of 10 feet was never marked. So in the process of clearing all that out, they've ripped posted signs off trees on my property just by cutting the trees down, and I'm sweeping them off. My other neighbor had her pull her markers pulled out from her survey markers pulled out. So that 10 feet. And we begged for them to mark the 10 feet so everybody would know, and that never happened. Now we've got 4-wheelers going up and down there, so that's, I guess, going to be an issue. And so now I would like to know, are they going to be able to put a data center there? Because I've been saying that for 6 months. What if they clear that and decide they want to make that a data center? So I don't know what's going on with that. But you've having no buffers on Kevin's Way or our stuff. Two communities have been destroyed, and now we're going to have all the stormwater drainage come down from whether it's a warehouse or a data center behind our houses. I mean, how much stuff are we supposed to be able to deal with here? Because it's really getting awful. And we have just been, I feel like we've been decimated. And I'm not saying this board in particular, but I feel like through this whole process, nobody has stood up for us, which I thought was the mandate. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Would you like the microphone? Good.
My name is John Burns, and I'm a resident of Pocono Township at the Votex Drive. I have found more data from the archives that we got digging 50 years. So I'd like to read this one, how this development came about and what rules were set down when they bought it. I didn't buy it. It was given to them. So the Votex School received that from the Clugston family. Okay. And then here, I have it says, where part of my deed was made from the agreement Clugston, and Howard K. Clugston, Administrator, and the deed dated October 70, and recorded in the office of the recording of deeds with the Low Tech School. They came into an agreement. These were all the rules that came up in my deed. Harold Clugston. Now, who made that those agreements? This whole thing is grandfathered. I don't care how you look at grandfather. Can you break grandfather rules? Do you want to break grandfather rules? That's up to you. All I know is what you're doing is illegal. That property. Second, I'd like to know what the property numbers are that are affected. I'm told it was 4 lots, and I have shown that it started right next to mine, 3. Now, I want to make sure, I don't, so any place did they come up with the lot numbers that you were talking about in those 4 lots? They just said 4 lots. 4 lots could be any place. I want to know the numbers and what lots are not, are going to be affected by this. I'm sorry, but this is grandfathered. Goes back to 1970. Cluxton family. Now you're breaking Mr. Cluxton's rules, or trying to. I feel that's illegal and immoral as well. Thank you very much.
President, if I could give Mr. Burns a copy of the map you've been working off of.
Sure. And there is one property between him and the 4 that are zoned.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4, 5, 6, and 7. That's it. What's this? This is lot 1. That's lot 2. That's lot 3. Okay. Okay, and 4, 5, 6, and 7. Is that how that's how I want it recorded in the minutes.
It's the first thing.
Okay, that's the area that right. Okay, thank you. Understand about this, the Clugston family, did you research this?
I haven't done a full title search on it. We're trying to get the MCTI deeds. They're not online. So we have a title searcher. We're going to pull those deeds. And I'd like them, if I can make a copy of this, pull this document also. This is the one with that was the Clugston's name, right? Okay, great, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Leo. Any other public comment? Karen?
Karen Delighten, Tannersville. I want to say it was a month ago when we asked at the meeting when Core 5 was going to start the sewer. And everybody said, we have no idea. We'll check into it. Well, the next morning they came out at 7 a.m. and started it. And they tore up everything and made a mess. And they moved our property marker and dug trees out of the property line with no property survey markings. And we asked for that to be done months ago, back in October, and it wasn't done. And can you have a mark where they're putting the sewer in the stormwater so we can see how close it's going to be and where it's going to be so they can properly do it without digging and then going up property lines and we're screwed because it's too late. I know it's 10 foot and 20 foot, but I don't know what their 10 foot and 20 foot is since they've already moved the property stake. And who's going to pay for the new survey? It's a little ridiculous that I just got it done a year and a half ago. And the stormwater, I'm hoping my well isn't contaminated because it's not very deep at all. And the stormwater is going to stop right behind my property and let out. And we were told a buffer is not going behind our houses. It will be 40 foot or more away from the property lines. Why? Aren't you supposed to put the buffer in between the property and the project? Somebody approved it for behind the project. Somebody can check that out for us, please. And I'm really worried about my well with that who knows what coming down the stormwater that's going to be left out right behind my property. And it would be nice for somebody to let me know exactly where it's going instead of guessing. Thank you.
Thank you. John, do you know if that can be done or could be done? Or
There were a lot of questions there. Which ones?
marking the 10
We
foot-
could ask Core 5 to mark their property corner. As I said in an email, they're no longer working off of physical evidence. They've got coordinates on all their plans. They're using GPS satellite to set out their construction stakeout. So they're not working off of the corners. There is an obligation from the land development plan approval that their corners be monumented, which would coincide with the outbounds of Ruby Lane. I can see when they want to do that and see if I can't get them to perhaps mark that line sooner. Typically, they do that at the end of the project because a lot of times they're working in the areas and they don't want to knock them out, but they should not have a problem in this location with that. I'll see if we can get a property line marked on this particular line.
Okay, thank you. Any other public comment?
Lonnie Burns, my husband, John, Bartonsville, 120 Botec. He neglected to give you a couple things that I know about because I'm the one who works outside. Since the addition has been put on, the runoff coming down from the Botec. When I walk in my backyard after the rainstorm, I slosh. It's like this. Water's all over the place. Never had that before. Just since they put this big addition on. And we have a filtering system in our garage that filters our well water. That filter gets filthy. I mean, it's so black now. We have to change it every 3 weeks. Before, we changed it every 3 months. So I'm concerned about our well also, and they're going to put those other 4 lots now on the other side of us. Where is all that runoff going to go if they put something in there? Is it going to come down on my property? Or where are they going to put it? These are the things that we're up against. And it's not particularly pretty when all the leaves go off. We look at all that crap up there. It's not nice for us. And after 50 years, I'm tired of all this. We have a lot of work to do. And we'll have a lot more work to do if they do what they're going to do up there. And when that lady said something about the school kids going to school, I'm all for the kids. Because we need all those kids. So, and I've watched for 50 years, watched the kids up there at that school. I know what's going on. People don't think I know what's going on, but I do. And when the cops need to be called, guess who calls the cops? Me, because I see what's going on. So I want you to know we love our house. So please consider what you're doing, all of you. Thank you.
Any other public comment?
Good evening, Lou Ginsburg, live in Bartonsville. First of all, Mr. Regal, thank you for putting up the additional stop signs and the speed limit signs. Mr. Wagner, they're not working.
You're surprised, Lou?
No, people still speed up and down the road. Now that summertime is here and the kids are out playing, please do what you can to enforce it. And Mr. Regal, you had promised speed strips to see if that would work. They haven't been installed yet, but based on what I'm seeing so far, I think the speed tables are the next step. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Jim, did you have your hand up? Or Patrice?
I don't know, Patrick, you might know this. What happened to the electronic speed signs on Bartonsville Avenue there? Not
State your
Bartonsville.
name for the record.
Oh, Jim Pellegrini, Swiftwater. Down, Brookdale Road. The electronic speed signs, they used to flash, it's a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. And what's that? What, we have a limited supply? What happened to those?
They're rotated periodically.
Seriously?
Yes.
Oh.
They
Okay.
have to be, right? I mean, that's a regulation. They can't stay there forever.
Yeah.
No?
Have so many, they're not cheap.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm surprised there aren't more people here, given the subject matter tonight. With the First Amendment stuff and all that, you are going to discuss the protest thing tonight?
It's on the agenda. Yep.
It's on the agenda. Okay, good. And that's it. I just want to know where they went.
Okay. Patrice?
Patrice Lanucci, Bartonsville, PA. I'll start with, I appreciate you going over the decorum and protocol and rules because I don't feel it was being applied to everyone who was speaking. And I felt very upset and offended and called out and
Please
they
speak to
them too. Thank you. Like, but that wasn't accommodated last meeting for a whole speech. And I just want to go over some things about the social media thing. A personal social media account is presumptively a personal account. If your settings are set to the public, it is not considered a private personal property. I didn't even, I only see what I see and report what I report. And I'm not afraid to say that I have. Patrick, I probably sent 170 pictures of inappropriate, not professional commissioner and volunteers things, I think, in bits and pieces. And he can do it with it what he wants. But if your settings aren't too private, then it is public. And it is, if you're talking about an executive meeting or another commissioner who maybe you could also sue him and he can move somewhere else, that's not appropriate and that could be a problem, I would think. When the other person also is on another commission. So I would think that the social media thing should be deeply thought about and nothing I would hope will be removed that has already been done because it's been pretty horrendous what's been messaged to him, what I've said and texted and messaged to certain people that I haven't even disclosed. Because as you see, we all get along. We all like each other. We all want this township to just function and flow. And the division has to stop, but it has not been forced to stop yet by repercussions. And there are repercussions that should come. And it shouldn't be our constitutional rights. It shouldn't be our constitutional rights. We shouldn't add another layer of government. I'll quote you. Why would we add another ordinance and another layer of government? If I'm guilty of inadvertently just stating that I couldn't have afforded to go to a park with my 3 young children I didn't even know about the park fee. I wasn't trying to have that park fee removed. I was just saying, I don't understand that. This is my experience. That's how things are being handled here. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Is there anybody online?
Yes, Josh Knapp, Pocono.
Josh?
I'd like to just bring the attention back to Core 5 and the work that's happening both on Warner Road and on Staden. I don't feel that they're being good neighbors. And in that, I have a feeling that when we allowed them to build there, that we had several items in place to sort of ensure that they would be good neighbors, of which they're totally ignoring. And it's just not acceptable. I don't know what they're doing on the both sides of Staten, but I don't know, maybe John can answer it, but I thought that that construction was limited by the overlay that was done to sort of corral in that type of construction. The idea that stormwater runs right into the back of neighbors' yards is just not good. And the other day I was there, and granted, I am further away than the people on Ruby Lane and Kevin's Lane, but I felt that blast through the seat of my pants, and I can hear trucks beeping up, reversing on the hill. So there should have been a warning, notification of that blast, and there was none. Can we do anything? I mean, as the town board, can you do anything to corral in Core 5 and get them to be better neighbors and more respectful of the people that they are disturbing? Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I speak? Hello,
State your name, please.
my name is Kayla Starr. I'm in Readers or Jackson Township. I grew up
Can you hold
here.
on 1 second? We can't hear you. Is there a way to turn
I'm
that up?
sorry.
Oh, okay.
Okay. My name's Kayla Starr. I'm in Readers or Jackson Township. I grew up here. My parents built their home here. I bought the home from my parents to raise my children in, and I live right by 4-5. And my son is autistic, so he's very sensitive to like sound or vibrations if they're too loud. And since this has begun, my child has been freaking out, to say the least. You see all of the people talking about it who are affected, and they're elderly, and they don't have any idea what's going on. There's no safeties in place. And let's be real, it's a data center. 8 feet of concrete is a data center. You're going to convert it into a data center. So I'm not sure why we can't just say it. I don't really have much else to say, because at this point, I feel like you're just going to pass it. You're going to allow it. It's going to poison people, but that's fine because people got paid off and it just doesn't matter. That's really all I have to say.
Thank you. Anyone else online? Okay. We'll move on to the agenda items. We have a resolution. Do we have a motion to approve resolution 2026-21 outlining Pocono Township social media policy? I'll make the motion to approve resolution 2026-21 outlining the Pocono Township social media policy. Is there a second? No second, so the motion dies, but I will just say that our solicitor has advised us that this is a good idea, that we should have one. And I don't know if you have anything to say on that, Leo.
No, just that we've gone through this in another municipality recently, and without, especially the designations, everybody's Facebook page, Instagram, whatever medium is subject to a right to know.
Thank you.
Without the policy?
Without the policy.
Okay, on the next one, I'm gonna make a motion to lay this on the table, postpone it until we get through the talking about the other ordinances for social gatherings, because it kind of comes after that. So I'll make a motion to lay it on the table and postpone till later in the meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Under old business, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the May 4th meeting. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I have one revision, under public comment, Lisa Latham's name was spelled wrong. Sorry? Oh, yeah, sorry, are we doing, which meeting are we approving the minutes for? May 4th. May 4th? Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Postpone.
that's okay. Any public comment on the meeting minutes?
It's ridiculous. Whatever it says, I commented it was on demolition, but I didn't talk about demolition. So in the last meeting minutes, it says my comment was upon demolition. So I don't know what it was, but there was no demolition discussed. So
Okay. Do you know what your topic was? We'll look back.
no, it wasn't even. Who knows? It could have.
It's on demonstration,
I don't know.
better demolition.
Oh,
It
maybe.
just, yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it, but it just isn't accurate.
Okay,
I don't need anything else put in there, just.
okay, thank you. Pat or Jim, can you just make a note of that? I think it was demonstration. It's just a typo, I think. But if Chrisanne could check that out on her public comment, the subject matter. So I will amend my motion to include that correction. And whoever seconded that, will you accept my amendment?
Yes.
I believe, just as a point, that was on the May 18th minutes. We're still in the May 4th minutes. The
Okay.
comment about Patricia Lanucci.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Now I've messed that up, I guess. So the motion is for motion to approve the minutes of May 4th.
Yep, you got a second.
And we got a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Leo, can you just tell us what I don't know if you finished your findings on the deed restrictions?
Yeah, we went back. I want to see the deeds for the 4 lots that are in question. They're currently not on Landex. Landex is a system that we use to do internet research on deeds. These deeds go back further than that. We have a title searcher for a nominal cost, retrieving those deeds, and should be getting them to me this week. And then I'll have more to report next meeting.
So where are we at with then advertising for this public hearing? Do we need to table that to the next meeting?
I don't think it's table, right? It's,
It would be postponed to
Postponed.
the next meeting.
yeah, postponed to the next meeting. Yeah, we should do that.
Okay, thank you. Then I'll make a motion to postpone the MCTI rezoning map and till the next meeting.
Second.
Discussion? Public comment?
Business, right? I'm sorry, I'm trying to follow along. Right. Motion to renew, are you there yet for MCTI?
No,
Okay.
we're tabling that.
Yeah,
We're
what is that?
postponing that because
Like, what is that? What are they being increased rate for hourly?
we're
Oh,
not
so
there.
we're not there.
We're not
This is
there.
That's what you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we need a motion to approve, I guess we'll do it separately. Motion to approve the minutes from May 18th, regular Board of Commissioners meeting.
Second.
With the change, right? There's,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
With the change of Patricia's subject matter.
I also had a correction as well. Under public comment, Lisa Latham's comment, LISALATHEN, her name is on, or late THEM, is on here as Lisa Latin. It also says she's a non-resident. She is a resident. I'd just like that corrected.
Yes, okay. I'll amend the motion to include those two corrections.
Sure.
Any other discussion? Public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. I'll make a motion to approve the financial transactions through June 1st as presented, including ratification of expenditures in the amount of $361,012.02 for the general fund, sewer operations, gross payroll, capital reserve, and construction fund. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion?
There were just a couple of items I noted signing checks today. Is Taylor Munoz still on our treasurer account? The bill that I signed, it still had his name on it, so we might want to see about having that name changed. And the other thing I wanted to ask about was there was a $939 charge for a conversion bolt for an M4 M16 AR-15 from Strikers, like $1,000 charge. I was just curious what that was.
Yeah, those are upgrades to the SWAT weapons that was approved for the budget 26.
Okay, thank you.
Any public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We're on to new business. We need a motion to renew the MCTI contract. I'll make a motion to renew the MCTI contract, same terms except for the new increased hourly rate of $97.84, which was formerly $88.07. And that rate, well, let me get it seconded. We'll explain it if anybody would like to second it.
I'll second the renewal part, but I would like to discuss further the increase.
Sure. I was going to explain that. Yeah. That increase, what we do every year is we take the police budget, the entire budget, we back out overtime because they don't spend overtime at the college, and we divide it by the number of police officers, by the number of hours, 2,080, and that's how we get the rate. So that's what we've been doing. So as expenses go up, the rates go up, and the rates go up anyway because we give our policemen a raise every year. So so the rate is based, that logic has been used year after year. So that's how we came up with it.
I mean, even the last 2 years that I've been involved with this, I don't remember going up $9 an hour.
That's quite a bit.
$9 an hour is pretty hefty. I think last year was like $3, and the year before that might have been. I mean, I'd like to see that data, please.
I believe that was because Jared had given them a discount. You remember that discussion? I think it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, and we discussed it.
Yeah.
And pass along a discount to them.
Yep.
So, well, what is the pleasure of the board then?
I think we should just keep the rate the way it is.
I don't mind a small increase
Well,
based
yeah,
on
but-
the cost of living expenses, but I think $9 an hour.
Yes.
And especially for MCTI, being a trade school and part of the school system, I think $9 an hour is a lot to ask of anyone, not just MCTI. I think it's a benefit to us that they're using our police officers too, to be part of MCTI versus hiring an outside security company.
Well, we're currently contracted to 320 hours, 2 hours a day, between 10 a.m. and 12 p.m. That's the time that they want our presence there because the AM students are departing and the PM students are arriving, and that's the reason.
There's a recording in progress.
Well, he made a motion to postpone it, right? And nobody seconded it.
Nobody second. So the motion is now on the table to accept this. Someone could make a motion to strike out the hourly rate of 97.84 and insert whatever they'd like. I'm not going to make that motion.
Leo, are we allowed to act on a portion of the motion and then push the second part of the hourly rate? Or do we have to do it all as one since it's written that way?
I mean, you can approve with an hourly rate contingent upon an hourly rate to be set in the future.
That works.
I don't know that the MCTI would want to vote on it if there was no rate on it. I don't think they would accept it until we put the rate on it. So I don't see what the difference would be. It doesn't seem to be substantially different.
Why don't we just come up with a number here? All right, 97.84. Right now they're paying 88.07.
What was the raise? Was it 5% or it was 4%, right?
4% this year.
Okay. So 88.07 plus 4%. Who's got a calculator? She's got fast fingers. Dingity ding.
$3.52.
$3.52. So 88.07 plus 352 is
$91.59.
91.59. How's everybody feel about that? Give them a cost of living increase as opposed to a 10%.
I'm fine with that.
So do we have a motion to strike out the number and insert?
I'll make the motion that we change that rate from 97.84 to 91.59.
Second.
Discussion?
Seems fair.
Public comment? Jim?
Sure.
No, Jim.
You guys all ask to see if it goes through.
Margaret, sat down.
Jim, I called you. Go ahead.
Okay. No, I just want to know. Jim spoke on it. I just want to know, we have a policeman goes there and they pay the school contracts a policeman for 2 hours a day? Okay, just to make sure that the morning kids don't beat on the afternoon kids as they're coming and going. Okay. Yeah.
And
Weird.
speeding in the parking lot.
Okay, so you're just voting on a slight increase in the cost of it? All right. And you're still holding out because you want to see the contract, Charles? I'll let him.
I don't know that I'll have a chance to look at it, but.
Right.
Thank you.
Frank, really Pocono Township. It seems to be that it would be more fiscally responsible to actually see the contract and divide it out properly rather than just give an arbitrary. Right, but rather than just increase it by $3, I think that maybe the $9 is required. I mean, this is the police department, and if they're not getting paid, they're not going to want to be there. Not that they have a choice, I suppose, if they're contracted, but let's do it fiscally responsible. And let's do the numbers the right way. Thank you.
Patrice?
I would like to, do I have to say my name again? Patrice
I
Lanucci.
can't hear you.
Patrice Lanucci, Bartonsville. It doesn't even say on this what their contract or what we're renewing, which is kind of vague, like very vague. So to me, I was like, what are we paying? What are we giving to them? And why are we, shouldn't it be written out for the police services or something in here? So we know what we're coming to or may want to speak on.
I would tend to agree with you. I feel like,
I feel like it's vague to the point, like,
Had an opportunity to see.
and I think you should see the contract because not accusing anyone of anything, who the heck knows what's in there or slid in there? And it's been happening and I would want to see it. I don't want to see it. Somebody should want to see it because
Natasha and I have both seen it.
well, but that's not,
Yeah.
Well, maybe other people want to see it. It's not like out of the realm to be the only one who didn't see it. I didn't even know what it was about. And my next thing was, is that normal? Does Pocono Mountain East have our state police or our police force
I'm sorry, your time.
going to the school?
I just like to comment. I received the document. It's a 16-page document, so it is quite a bit. It's quite a bit to review.
Any other public comment? Anybody online? All those in favor?
Madam Chair, this is the motion on the rate change, correct?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. That was just the rate change, right? Now we have to,
Now we would vote on the actual
Contract.
agreement.
okay. So I'll make a motion that we renew.
The motion's already on the table.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you. So we're back to the original motion. And we just have to vote, right?
Or invite public comment on this portion.
Okay. Any public comment? Anyone online? Oh, Frank?
Frank Riley, Pocono Township. So you just approved the $3 increase? Is that what just happened?
Yes.
So I think you should actually not pass this and do the research and find out fiscally if $3 is enough. Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carried. Did you vote?
I said aye.
Okay. Motion carried. Next, we need a motion to waive the pavilion number 3 rental for Pocono Mountain East Boys Volleyball.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that. Any discussion? Public comment? Anybody online? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. We need a motion to waive pavilion number 2 rental fee for Monroe County Special Olympics. And
Second.
any discussion? Public comment? Anybody online? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next, we have actually 2 motions that are kind of the same thing, so I'm going to make a motion that we discuss the proposed ordinances concerning the use of public property for assemblies and organized gatherings, and to authorize the solicitor's review prior to advertisement. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Are we discussing both of the? So we're combining these into one. So we're looking over the ordinance number 2026-nothing, and then also the Pocono Township.
I had some.
So,
So
Madam Chair, I'd just like to say, I think a motion to discuss is improper. Typically, it would be a motion to, adopt one resolution or the other and offer amendments. If we just wanted to open up into a discussion in like a workshop format, we would have to make a motion to suspend the rules, which would require a 3/5 vote of the board. So it would require a 4-person vote for a motion to discuss. That's my understanding.
No, we differ, so I'm going to turn that over to our solicitor. Sorry, Leo.
No. Technically, Commissioner Kepler is correct. It should be a motion to act on either or each of the ordinances. And then second and discussion at that point in time can follow. But it would be a motion to act on one of the ordinances. If you'd like to discuss it, quite frankly, this is probably, and I cringe when I say this, but this is probably one of the items that where in a workshop would be useful and constructive.
so that you could hash out what I think many perceive are some issues and differences between members of the board. But that's the pleasure of the board. So at that point in time, it would be a motion to table or postpone, Mr. Parliamentarian.
We could make a motion to postpone it to a special meeting. We could make a motion to postpone it to our next meeting, or we could make a motion to postpone it indefinitely and take it back up at the pleasure of the board, after we've scheduled a workshop at a later time.
Or the final option is withdraw the existing motion to discuss and make a motion on one or the other of the proposed ordinances, and then discuss that and vote on those.
I'll withdraw my motion.
We're discussing tonight.
Yeah, but we're gonna discuss it, but I think we have to do this motion thing. But I'll withdraw my motion, but will you withdraw your second and we'll redo it? Okay. Okay, so
It would be a motion to approve whichever one you wanted at this point in time to start the discussion.
So I had put a motion here to refer the draft of our public gathering and protest ordinance to the township solicitor for review, and possible advertisement for a public hearing for adoption. I'll make that motion. However, if we did want to schedule a workshop on this, that would be my preferred route. So I would like to instead first make the motion to postpone this to a special meeting, with, a date to be determined. If I have a second. Okay.
Just to discuss it.
Well, to discuss the differences between the two drafts rather than trying to go through what is likely to be a lengthy amendment process here to one draft or the other, unless, the board is inclined to just push through one of the two drafts without, any additional scrutiny applied. It's at the pleasure of the board, but I think this merits a workshop, frankly. So I'll if anyone would like to second my motion, otherwise. Okay, so
hang on.
Okay.
So I'm okay with a workshop. I mean, but so I'll second it for discussion. So how does the board feel about a workshop?
I don't see that we need one. It's already, these drafts have already been passed around. I personally don't have a lot of edits to have a workshop for it. It was discussed last meeting, discussed this meeting. There's still gonna be a hearing.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
I think this merits a discussion with legal. I mean, looking over the draft that we have here, I have very serious concerns. I mean, even just reading through the Westlaw article that Leo gave me in the last session. I mean, this draft over and over and over again uses the phrase what was it here? It uses the phrase content neutral repeatedly, and there's precedent that use of that phrase. It's often for oh yes, here it is. PAP's AM v City of Erie found that the content neutral justification was often inextricably linked to content suppression, because when you need to make that disclaimer, it implies that someone is making a determination, and there's saying it's going to be content neutral is inherently opinion, because what is content neutral to one person is not content neutral to another. I mean, that's one of like my less serious concerns, but from like just a legal standpoint, I think that we might want to again debate this further and talk about potential amendments, that because again, this is in almost every section where this is, so this could turn into a very lengthy amendment process if we were to take that out and try to set more objective standards. I want to make sure that this is done in a way that, gives it the proper time it deserves.
Well, I think part of the motion is for the solicitor to review it. So whatever we do tonight, the solicitor's going to review. Right? So nothing's going, we're not going directly to a hearing. The solicitor is going to look through it and make his comments as usual. And maybe tonight he gets our opinions.
Well, my motion was to refer it to the solicitor. The other motion, the motion for the second draft that I believe is on here is to schedule the public hearing. So, I would want to make sure that we're, going to be making the motion that does have it go to the solicitor.
Those motions do. If you read my motion.
Oh, did I miss it? Oh, well,
Yeah.
apologies.
So
Well, I'd still like to schedule the public workshop. I think it's worth the time. Again, I think this is a very serious discussion. I'll get into my more serious concerns if we don't decide to schedule decide to schedule the workshop tonight. But before the board now.
would the board like to set a limit of how long we discuss this tonight? And so we can move it along? So we don't drag on to 9 o'clock. We'll just say, what's it, 7:30? We'll see where we're at. If we need a workshop, I mean, I'm thinking we could do it in a half hour.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I would help.
So I guess we need to vote on your motion, right?
Yes.
So the motion was to postpone.
There was no second.
No, Ellen did
I
second
did
it.
second.
Oh, you did?
Discussion. Yeah, that's why we were discussing. Yep. I guess we'll do a roll call on this one.
What are we?
We're voting on a workshop to discuss this.
The motion on the table is a motion to
To schedule a workshop on the
schedule a workshop.
Oh,
Okay.
To postpone it off tonight's agenda.
Ready?
Yes.
Commissioner Lee?
No.
Commissioner Velarde?
No.
Commissioner Ganant?
No.
Commissioner Long?
No.
Commissioner Kepler?
so we're gonna discuss.
Motion fails. Yep,
7:30.
correct.
Easy
So
peasy.
we need a motion to do that.
So I'll make my motion to consider my draft of the public demonstration and gathering ordinance. If I have a second.
Which one's that one? The ordinance draft or the one with the blue writing?
It's
His is
it's the first one that
black
appears in
writing.
the.
Yep, the one that says, oh, they both say.
I know, that's why I'm asking.
This one.
I'll second to discuss.
It doesn't matter because we're discussing, so it
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah, I
matter.
know, but-
Doesn't. So. It's a second? I second it. Discussion?
So if I could begin, so tonight before us, we have two drafts of a public demonstration and I think it was called something else in the other draft, public gathering, something like that. The language is a little different between the drafts and they are two very different drafts. So the draft that I have prepared is very lax and it treats all gatherings of people in the township the same. It was based off of another municipality's draft. It was pared down significantly because the draft that I found, most townships that pass an ordinance like this, they're seeing gatherings of thousands of people. Pocono Township doesn't have any venues that could accommodate that, and we don't have that many people living in the township that we'd ever see. We'd be likely to see private events ranging into those ranges, and if we did, this draft would still accommodate them. But it was pared down to be as minimally restrictive upon the residents as possible, while still attaining all the goals we want to see. Making sure that our parks and our public property are accessible to residents, while still ensuring that individuals maintain their First Amendment rights to go there and use the space for whatever they choose to use it for, whatever expressive way they decide to. The second draft that's before us, I find deeply concerning. It bans, all like gatherings and ceremonies within 50 feet of things like fishing ponds, which would mean you couldn't hold like a candlelight vigil at our Veterans Memorial down in the park. The Jehovah's Witnesses and like other evangelizers that wanted to, stand in the park and hand out literature, they wouldn't be able to do that, right near the playground. They'd have to be standing practically out in the middle of the field over by Glenwood Hall if they wanted to do something like that, which again seems to me like a constitutional violation. Even something like the Eastern Monroe Public Library bookmobile pulling up into the parking lot and holding a special event like that, that could potentially be banned. And I say these things could potentially be banned because the draft gives a lot of leeway to the commissioners and to the township manager to waive these restrictions largely at their discretion. It says, the township manager, if they determine that an event is low risk, most of these things can be waived or not be considered. There's a fee resolution that goes along with the latter draft that includes things like, charging residents who want to, any size group of residents, it says there's no fee for a small protest, but they say they want you to get a $2 million insurance certificate in the name of the township, which, I mean, that's expensive. And again, that can be waived by the township manager at their discretion. But, again, we're handing off that authority to the government to say, what is low risk, what's high risk. And, that determination, it seems to me, inherently content based. You can say it's low risk, but the draft doesn't set any objective standards. So my draft does try to do that. It says, it treats all groups the same. It's actually very similar to the process we use to let out our pavilions, to let out, our other township spaces like our basketball courts. We have a form online through Rec Desk that you fill out. It asks you the name of, your name, what the gathering's for, how many people you're expecting, and it lets you book it online. And we could do the same thing for this. We could process our permits that way, and it would work right through the system we already have established. The latter draft would be enormously administratively burdensome, because I mean the fee resolution is 6 pages long, and the ordinance itself is 7 pages. That's a lot to review for everybody who wants to hold a public gathering, who has to submit these comprehensive plans, for like any size gathering of more than 25 people. So mine, any gathering under 50 people, you don't need to get a permit for that. 50 to 100, we ask you how, what your name is, how long you're going to be there, how many people you're going to have, just basic stuff. And then over 100, we'll charge whatever our like standard permit fee is. It's in the draft to be set by resolution. But usually a lot of townships, if there's financial hardship, they waive these fees because demonstrations are demonstrations. But like larger demonstrations of over 100 people, like they can afford our $70 permit fee, and that's just for reviewing their plan. And they'd have to submit a plan to us saying where are people going to park. If there's not enough parking, how are you going to get them there? Are they going to walk from another site? Are they going to, take like a bus over or something like that? It creates like a negotiation process. But it puts the burden on us to place restrictions, whereas the latter draft seems to put the burden on the township to waive the restrictions, where the restrictions are very strict. So I'm always going to tend towards trying to not step on the residents. My concern with the latter draft is that it'll have a chilling effect. Because you look at a almost 13 page draft, and you think your eyes glaze over and it's like, I want to have, a group of, 20 of my friends come to the park and meet me for like a picnic. And, I have to comply with all these standards. I have to get this insurance certificate for $2 million. I'm not going to bother. I guess you could appeal to the township manager to have it waived, but like people are just going to think, I don't want to deal with that. Or it's just not going to be enforced, equally, where people will be holding those and we won't be enforcing it on them because we say, oh, well, that's fine. But then, the second somebody shows up in the park and they're holding a sign, now it does become a problem. And that's where it becomes an issue of unequal enforcement. I mentioned before the latter draft repeatedly, again and again and again, notes that, it's content neutral. So we apply content neutrally. But again, the case law on this, is that, you can't just put that in and say like, well, now it's content neutral. That's not how it works. If you're saying, if you have to say it, the implication is that it's not going to be applied that way. And so, my draft, again, it's all objective standards. It's things that are measurable. Is there enough parking for the people who are going to be there? Assume 2 people per car. There, you can calculate how much parking there is, and we could deny them on that basis. There's not enough parking. If you say you're going to have 100 people in the park and no bathroom, there's no bathroom in that park. We can deny them and say, like, you got to have a bathroom there if you're going to have that many people. It does give us grounds to deny things that create a public health safety risk, but it doesn't impose onerous restrictions on people. So, again, I had a lot of concerns with these 2 drafts, and I could go on and on, but this is my reason why I'd like to go with my draft rather than the latter. I feel very strongly that the residents should have the right to speak. The last thing I want is for people to feel like they're having their First Amendment rights chilled. I do think that there should be some kind of permitting process for this, because as the township grows, we're over 10,000 residents now, over 11,000 residents. As the township continues to grow, people are going to want to hold larger gatherings in our parks, especially in big parks like Mountain View, where there's a lot of space. I think we should be creating a process for this. But again, I think that process should be well thought out, and which is why I wanted this to go to a workshop. It shouldn't place onerous restrictions on the residents that could lead them to just choosing to go somewhere else rather than enjoying the beautiful parks that Pocono Township has to offer.
Thank you. Natasha?
I don't think either draft imposes on someone's free speech ability. If anything, it sets some parameters for any kind of organized demonstrations moving forward. I find it interesting that there's a problem with Section 6, which is the recreational facility buffer areas, which Charles mentioned about the fishing pond, but he failed to mention that there's a 50-foot buffer then from children's playgrounds, the splash pad, water play area, athletic field during active use, and youth program areas during scheduled programming. Why do we need to be closer than 50 feet to children during an organized demonstration? I find it crazy that there's a problem with that one. I actually think 50 feet is not enough. I personally think in that section, regardless of whatever we approve, that section should be in there, and it should be at least 200 feet. Stay away from the kids.
So that would actually be unconstitutional, because you're preventing effective communication of your message with the recipients of your message. For instance, the library protest is a great example. If they had done that protest at TLC Park, when I've gone out door knocking and met people in the township, the people who are most concerned about the library closing were the parents of small children, and most of them didn't even know about it. Now, if we had been down in the park doing that protest rather than where the organizers chose to hold it, which was over by the firehouse, they may have had the opportunity to interact with parents. Under this ordinance, we couldn't hold that protest there. And for instance, the paint at the pump protest, the one that was recently held by a local organizing group. There were people coming up to the fence at the gas station and shouting to us like, "Way to go!" Like, "Thank you," the fact
I think we're getting off track here because we're supposed to be talking about these ordinances.
We are talking, Madam Chair, we are talking about the ordinances.
No, you're talking about your experience. What about it should be
Well,
within
I'm
this
speaking
be.
to the constitutionality of it and whether or not we're able to effectively, individuals are able to effectively communicate their message if they're told, these are the places where you can speak. We could be at Glenwood Hall, but then again, our gas station protest about high gas prices wouldn't be able to reach the people at the gas station who are at the pump and have an opportunity to come over and speak to us about it. You're limiting the ability for people to communicate their message, which is against the First Amendment. That is, that's explicitly the law under the Commonwealth v. Scott. That's the Supreme Court precedent that we have. It can't prevent a person from communicating the message with their intended recipients. And so, my concern is, again, saying you put these buffers on, like, say, again, somebody wanted to protest the basketball courts being removed. If your intended recipients are the people who were demanding that it be changed to pickleball, you should have a right to go there and stand there with a sign saying, like, you took my pickleball court or you took my basketball courts. That's America. It might suck. You might think it's annoying, but like, that's America, and people have a right to express that dissent with what the government's done. And the government shouldn't be stepping in to say, "Oh, well, you can express that concern, but you've got to do it over there, or we don't have to look at you.
Well,
we don't
they
have to see
don't
you,
have
or we
to
don't
do
have
it.
to talk to you, or we don't have to hear you."
They don't have to do it within 50 feet of kids either.
Well, it's not just kids. The basketball courts aren't kids. The dog park isn't kids. The fishing pond isn't kids. This is to keep, and that's the other thing about these restrictions. It's very explicit that the intention is to keep them out of TLC Park, not to keep them away from kids.
Exactly.
Well, Thank you. And so you've just,
Exactly.
well, yeah, well, now you're making the point for me, now, if this goes to court, you're saying, yes, the intention was, a space restriction. We
Move
don't want them
over,
in this
move over
place.
100 feet in Glenwood Hall. You got that big lawn with the big tree, and you can protest your heart out, but don't defile the Veterans Memorial by marching in front of it.
Well, you can't speak to people there, and that's the thing. Again, you're hampering the communication of the message. If you say you have to be over here where there's no pedestrian traffic, there's no one to talk to on the lawn of Glenwood Hall. Nobody is walking by. There's no sidewalk there. There's no opportunity to interact with the residents over there because the residents are on the other side, are on a completely different property. By banning people from being on that property and by restricting them from being anywhere near anything on that property, you're preventing them from communicating their message. You're again, like, you can scream into the void, but it's not free speech if you're only allowed to speak where no one can hear you. That's not.
Well, I don't know if you're gonna be out in front of Glenwood Hall, why can't they come over and talk to you while you're at Glenwood Hall instead of being in front of the Veterans Memorial?
Because it's a really long walk from the park over there.
Ain't that a shame? It's a long walk.
Well, it's, for me, I wrote this second one. I started with Charles and then I made some changes. This is for a birthday party. Mine does not have the word protest in it at all because it's about any gathering. So I don't agree with you, Charles, that mine is unconstitutional. And that is a question for the lawyer, which is why the lawyer is going to review it whichever one he gets. And I don't know if Leo wants to speak to some of the things because you're not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. And I don't know that what you're saying. There has been case law, which Leo has told us.
Would you like the case law?
No.
You're welcome to review.
Leo has told us that there's case law on the other way too.
Yeah, there is. I mean, First Amendment is obviously constitutionally protected right, not only protected by the U.S. Constitution, but actually broadened by the Pennsylvania Constitution. So any restrictions about gatherings need to be crafted very specifically and clearly, but it's not to say that it can't be done. Do I think it'll be challenged? I think it will be challenged. Do I think that we will win? I think we'll have a shot, but I won't guarantee anything. No good lawyer should, because you don't know.
Which draft do you think would be challenged? Have you had an opportunity to review both?
Not closely, no.
So you're saying you do think it would be
I'm
challenged?
not. Am I going to be cross-examined, or am I going to be allowed to speak tonight? No, I'm serious.
No, Leo, you have the floor.
Thank you. So, obviously, protection of children is extremely important. And one that I think, if crafted correctly, has a chance to pass constitutional muster, especially if there is an alternative site that allows the gathering to reach its intended audience. So that's really what needs to be examined, is whether or not, if the Gannett proposal is put into place in some form or fashion, and I do have some general comments without having done a deep dive. One of my comments as a quick aside would be to do away with all waivers. I think once you get into waivers, you open up the argument of why did you waive this? Was it a content related waiver? And to avoid that, there probably shouldn't be any waivers because now it is truly content neutral. But back to my primary point, which is if there is an alternative area that's provided to the public, and we'll use our current example, the current TLC Pike Park and Glenwood Hall. Glenwood Hall, I paid special attention to it today, is right on 611. It appears to be a larger area. It allows a gathering to reach motorists on 611, which is why I think TLC, quite frankly, is a popular site rather than some of the other facilities that we have that the township owns. but it can be done. I mean, as to the memorial, quite frankly, going to that issue, I don't believe restricting any kind of gathering at that memorial would be appropriate, whether it's pro-veteran, Mike, and I'm sorry, or whether it's anti-veteran or whatever the message might be. It doesn't matter about the message. The question is whether or not we're meeting a goal and what is it we're trying to protect, and what is it, most importantly, are we trying to restrict? So my feeling is that, Charles, the Kepler, I'll call it the Kepler proposal, is very broad. The likelihood of that being challenged, it probably still could be challenged on some instances. There will be somebody, I'm sure, that will fashion or could fashion a challenge. The Gantt proposal would need some work, and we'd have to look through it. But I believe, and the information that I did provide to Charles indicates that yes, you can restrict, subject to potential challenge. No one's going to say these can't be challenged, but that you can restrict gatherings so long as it's reasonable, health, safety, welfare, and our favorite words this evening, content neutral. But again, I would like to, depending on how this board direction it wants to go, I certainly would like the opportunity to review closely both proposals.
So I would just raise the point. I hear this phrase "protect children." I don't understand how that's content neutral in and of itself. How do you decide what's protecting? Like, does banning a birthday party from the park protect children? I don't. Saying that you can't hold a birthday party in the park, that's to protect children.
What are we banning? What does either of these ban? Nothing.
Well, yeah, it does. It bans it from 50 feet of the playground. So if you wanted to hold like a birthday party at TLC Park and not rent a pavilion, you wouldn't be allowed to do that. That's and especially if we were to get rid of the waivers, as is the solicitor's suggestion. So again, like, what is protecting children? That's not going to be enforced content neutrally. That's going to say a birthday party, that's okay, but some kind of protest, maybe a library protest is okay, but some other kind of protest isn't. How do we define protecting children? That the fact that phrase has come up again and again during this discussion again just reinforces the fact that this can't be enforced content neutrally, this latter draft.
As it stands right now, birthday parties are at Mountain View Park because we don't do any kind of reservation at TLC whatsoever. So there is no birthday party at TLC Park unless you happen to walk over there with your cake and sit down at the table. But there are no scheduled events at TLC Park as it stands now. If you want a birthday party, you rent a pavilion at Mountain View. That's what we have.
I don't know. I was thinking of bringing my son down there for the splash pad with some of the kids from his class, for a birthday party. I thought that might be fun. But I guess if the board doesn't think that's that's fair. Well, no. I wouldn't be allowed under this. Well, it wouldn't be allowed under this ordinance.
No. What, are you kidding me?
It would be a gathering of more than 25 people.
Application.
No, I'd have to submit an application. I'd have to get my $2 million. Well, I'd have to get my $2 million insurance certificate
for your kid.
Well, it's not my draft. It's not my draft.
You're really off the deep end, pal.
No,
you're nuts. You are nuts. I mean, you want to have a party for Charlie 5 at TLC Park, and you think you're going to get in trouble if you don't get a permit? For crying out loud.
Yes, I do.
You're off your nut, buddy. You are off your nut.
Well, if this draft is passed, I very well could, and that's the point. Hey.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah, you're not going to go to the stage show.
I'm sorry. No comments from.
He's wrong.
I'm wrong. Okay, I'm wrong.
We're not going to argue with them.
Well,
we're not.
You know what? I'm tired of this shit. I'm wrong. I'm worried about the children in our neighborhoods. Okay? I'm here to protect you people. And there's some idiots in the audience who just don't understand that I'm here to protect you.
Mike, I'm sorry.
I know I'm out of order. And you know what, Ellen? I don't care. I'm tired of this nonsense.
Resign, Mike.
Okay. So it's 7:22. We're no closer to anything.
I prefer your draft over the other one with Leo going through and tweaking it.
Okay.
To making sure that we're protected.
So we don't want a work session, I assume. So Leo, and look at both of these and give us your comments. Because
Yeah, I mean, again, and having flipped through it and waiting for the authorization to deep dive them, I mean, I have a problem with the insurance requirement. I don't know how you do that. I have a problem with that. I have a problem, I think, with charging somebody for extra police costs. I don't have problems with bathroom facilities or things of that nature. So, I mean, yeah, I would like the opportunity to look at it. I'd like to, put it side by side with Commissioner Kepler's. So we could, and make comments as are necessary on his also, and then come back to the board.
did anybody have any specific revisions that you wanted to see?
My only revision really was looking at the section 6 to add a little bit extra to that buffer zone. I think the penalty for violating our ordinance only being $600, I don't think is enough. I think it should have some teeth in it. I also, regardless of whatever kind of use this would entail, I don't think the cost of police services should fall back on the taxpayer. So if there's going to be an organized event of more than 50 or 100 people and there's traffic control needed and police services needed to ensure compliance and protection of the public, I as a taxpayer do not want to pay for that. So that should fall back on the organizer.
Again, there's no expectation that would be enforced content neutrally. The township is making the determination about what would require additional police services.
People.
Well, no, it's not. There's no objective criteria in the draft that's put forward. It just says if the township determines. Well, the fee schedule does not say that. It says unless the township determines otherwise. Which again, even at less than 25 people, for instance, the pain at the pump protest, there was a police officer stationed there the entire time that we were down there. Clearly the township determined that was worth doing. If the township determined that was worth doing for the next protest, that group of 12 people would then be charged for that police officer, which I personally think is completely unreasonable because, again, it wouldn't be done content neutrally. The birthday party, for example, would likely not be required to have a police officer there, but that is a content distinction. That's not a risk distinction. Calling it a risk distinction or saying it's going to be implied content neutrally does not make it content neutral. A birthday party would likely be judged low risk and a protest would be judged high risk. And the only difference between them is not the number of people. It's not the number of cars in the park. It's not anything else. It's not the barriers that would be required. It's what they are saying while they're there. And that's content. It's content.
Charles, just for the record, there was no police officer scheduled to be at that event.
Well, there was one there the entire time we were there. I don't know that there was one scheduled, but
there was no scheduled police officer to be there for that event.
Okay.
I want to make that clear.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, personally, there was no scheduled police officer there because we had no permit process in place. I think we were all caught off guard a little with this protest at TLC Park, and I thought we unanimously agreed that we need a permit process in place. My suggestion is to authorize Leo to draft a standard permit process based on the countless other municipalities that I'm sure have one, and make sure that it is constitutionally sound. I think Leo should be drafting this ordinance, specifically this ordinance, and that's a motion I would support. There's a lot of drafts flying around. We're voting to have Leo review them all. I don't know why we wouldn't just have Leo draft a permit process that is based on everyone else that has one. And I don't think that we should be trying to, you can't, I don't know exactly what we're gonna be looking at once Leo reviews it, but I mean, designating assembly areas out of the park, you can't do that. You can't say that TLC Park is off limits for the First Amendment because of all these 50-foot buffer zones.
Where does it say that? You keep saying that. Where does
I'm
it say?
saying this section 6 designated assembly areas. I'm
Yeah.
saying that if the intent of what you guys are trying to do is to put in buffer zones in TLC Park so that, you know, everybody has to go to Glenwood Hall, that I'm concerned about the constitutionality of that. I would support Leo drafting something that he is sure is constitutionally defensible and consistent with other permits.
These buffer zones would be in any of our parks. Once this goes through, this applies to all our parks, not just TLC.
All public property.
Yeah, I understand, but
and this is it. But you're right. It goes to Leo, but this to me is very important. So
I agree.
So that I wouldn't want to see go away. Maybe the feet changes. I don't know. Maybe there, but let's let Leo look at it. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
yeah, the specific time, manner, and place restrictions that have been upheld in the courts are specifically for public safety. You can't block access to the park. You can't block walkways in the park. Those are clearly defensible. But when you start getting into 50-foot buffer zones everywhere around basketball courts, and that's not. I don't think that's defensible. I think this draft is not defensible. We will get challenged. We will lose. I want to be on record on that, because if you guys move forward with something like this, there's no precedent for this. If any of you have another example of any municipality who has done something like this and not been sued, or been sued and won, I would love to see it, because I don't think this holds up. I mean, there's Supreme Court precedent. There's Pennsylvania court precedent. I was looking at a case, Gone versus Dauphin County, where they tried to basically have a de facto prohibition on political activity in one of their parks, and they have a permanent injunction against them. You cannot do that. Political activity is protected in parks, period. And you can only do time, manner, and place restrictions for specific public safety concerns. All of these buffer areas are not going to be upheld. And so I think Leo should be in charge of drafting something that is based on what another municipality does, that is easily defensible, and that's where I stand. So that's all I got.
So we're at 7:30. We've run our limit of discussion. So I'm going to open it up to public comment, and then we'll vote.
I think Leo just needs to review both of them, kind of like we said.
Yep.
See what's going on.
Any public comment? Yep. Any? Lou.
Yeah, Lou Ginsburg from Bartonsville. First of all, I want to thank the commissioners for all the time and effort that they put in coming up with these myriad drafts proposals. It's a lawyer's nightmare and it's a lawyer's dream. What I would recommend is that you have a public hearing or a workshop, whatever you want to call it. Sit down, hash all this stuff out, because we're not going to get it done in an hour or 2 hours this evening or over a couple of evenings. We need to spend a whole lot more time getting this resolved. And once we decide what we want to do, let's have Leo draft up the ordinance. That way we are fairly confident that it'll pass constitutional muster. Yes, it'll be challenged, but hopefully it's strong enough that we can defeat the challenge. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Frank?
Frank Really, Pocono Township. You know, we're a nation built on the bedrock of the First Amendment. The freedom to speak, assemble, and to protest in public spaces is a sacred right. But constitutional rights have never been absolute. You cannot yell fire in a crowded theater. You cannot weaponize the public square to the detriment of our society's most vulnerable members. There is a line that must be drawn, and that line stands at the perimeter of our children's playgrounds. Restricting high-intensity protests in parks dedicated to children is not an attack on free speech. It is a defense of public safety and childhood development. The law recognizes this. Under the established time, place, and manner doctrine, the Supreme Court has repeatedly ruled the government can restrict where and how speech occurs, provided the rules are content neutral, narrowly tailored, and serve a significant governmental interest. What interest could be more significant than protecting children? Consider the captive audience doctrine in cases like Frisbee v. Schultz. The courts recognize that when citizens cannot practically avoid objectionable or aggressive speech, they lose their own right to peace. When a family goes to a fenced playground, they cannot simply walk away without abandoning the sole public resource designated for their children's growth. A protest inside the playground effectively evicts families from their own public spaces.
Thank you. Cindy.
Cindy Gregor, Scott Run. I just want you to be also aware of child endangerment and welfare laws in the state of Pennsylvania. It says
Could you pull the mic
organizers
closer?
and participating.
Can you pull the mic closer?
Sorry. Organizers and participating adults can be prosecuted under state-specific child endangerment and neglect laws if they intentionally place minors in harm's way during a public protest. So signs threatening to assassinate anybody is a violent act. So be careful because you have these laws in place. Welfare and endangerment of children.
That's a great point, and exactly why we don't need additional laws. We already have laws that address violence and threats. Thank you.
Patrice, did you have your hand up?
Is he searching?
Oh, I can't hear you to get up here.
My whole thing is, I believe you proposed to pass this last week or 2 weeks ago, right? And it was not passed. No, no, and no. Why are we here again? Because it's revisiting something that did not pass.
Because we need something. in place.
Why? We have the
'Cause we have
Constitution.
nothing in place.
We have laws. We have a police force.
Can you state your name, please?
No. Does everyone?
Yeah.
I don't mind. Okay. Patrice Lanucci, Bartonsville, PA. So I don't understand. There is a process. There is a whole system to how you run these things. A motion is made, someone seconds it, whatever, and it was not passed. So I don't understand. So it didn't work. Why are we here now going? At the end of that meeting, it was said that you and Charles or you and everyone would work on just the ordinance or permitting. And now it's turned into children paying for pensions, overtime. I say we pay them with the MCTI gets. I'm circling that. I see the fees they're getting for 2 hours. Why are we paying more money than MCI? If
Your time is up. Sorry.
funerals, you gonna charge people who are gathering to spread ashes at a park or?
Is there any other public comment? Anybody online?
No, they're not spread, but they could have a memorial if they want.
Okay.
Can I just say something real quick?
Yes.
You know, on the child endangerment side of it, that's exactly why I want a permit process. So the police are aware of exactly what's proposed, so they can plan, so they can be there if necessary. I mean, to me, that's the safest the park is going to be, is when the police are literally there during the entire event. And I just want to say to Patrice, you know, there was a motion the previous meeting to amend the park ordinance. Commissioner Leap wasn't here. You know, I know she supports what Ellen's trying to do. So, you know, there's a renewed effort and everyone's trying to figure out the best path forward. I mean, you can amend the park ordinance, which was what was discussed. You could do a permanent. I know, but you know, Charles has brought up motions.
It's a significantly different question, Patrice, because before it was just a motion. It was a vague motion. This is a specific ordinance and specific draft. So you know, being able to renew the motion, it is valid.
That's all
Okay.
I had. to say.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
You okay? It does.
So the motion on the table is,
I think it's Charles.
do you want to repeat it, Charles? Because it was your motion.
Yeah, it was to so it was to refer the draft of the public gathering and protest ordinance to the township solicitor for review and possible advertisement for public hearing and adoption.
For correction, I wasn't, you made a motion for your ordinance, not for both.
This was just for the ordinance that I drafted.
Pat, do you want to do, or Jim, you want to do a roll call vote?
Sure will.
Can I just ask, do we want Leo to review both? I mean, are we gonna?
Well, we got a motion on the table. We got to finish up here first.
I'm just trying to understand. Okay.
Yeah, we did. Well,
Okay.
This is for just Charles
Yes.
ordinance? Okay. All right. Commissioner Lee?
No.
Commissioner Velarde?
Nope.
Commissioner Ganant?
No.
Commissioner Long?
Yes, I guess.
Commissioner Kepler?
Yes.
Motion failed.
Motion failed. Then, I'll make a motion that we. Oh. Is this on the agenda?
Yeah, as a second motion for the draft of public gallery protest orders attached to list for review.
Yes.
Second, such an action. Item.
Yep. Yep. So I'll make the motion, to submit both ordinances to the solicitor for his review.
Second.
Discussion,
Now, this is both ordinances.
both.
Just for him to review.
So we could have a
Correct.
hybrid, perhaps we could have a hybrid. Correct. Which might even work better.
Right. This is just a draft, subject to change. Yep. Any public comment? Anybody online? Oh, are you, Frank, did you want to make a comment before we vote? I didn't know if you had your hand up.
So I just want to finish this. Frank Reilly, Pocono Township. So furthermore, the state has well documented heightened interest in protecting minors. In Saya versus New York, the Supreme Court recognized that noise and visual disruption can be regulated. In a park, massive crowds, signs, megaphones create an immediate physical hazard. They destroy the sightlines parents rely on to supervise their children, heavily increasing the risk of injury or abduction. They create decibel levels that cause genuine sensory distress to developing minds. We are not advocating for total ban on speech. Under the law, cities can and should establish buffer zones, protect protests on city hall steps, protests on the sidewalks, protests in the fields. But of our massive regional parks or even our local parks, obviously there was the township, but leave the swing, slides, and the sandbox out of it. The playgrounds are a specialized public resource. Protecting it isn't silencing a message. It is fulfilling our highest civic duty, ensuring that our children can play, grow, and remain safe, free from the crossfire of adult political warfare. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Jim?
I want to apologize for my outburst. And to you, Mike. And to the board and everybody in this room. I'm sorry. I do agree that TLC Park, if you have an alternative next door, is fine. I understand the opposition and I understand your points and I agree with your points. I agree with the oversight that it could be a bit much. That whole draft that I read, yeah, it's got a lot, especially bonds and stuff like that. That seems silly. It really does. It seems overkill. This seems like a knee-jerk reaction to a small protest that happened in a parking lot that happened to have a sign that to some is interpreted as kill the president. To some, not to everybody, just to some. That said, the interpretation of the sign, what happened that day.
Time's up, Jim.
Well, only a minute. Anyway, I want to say I'm sorry.
Any
Thank
other
you.
public comment?
Lou Ginsburg, Bartonsville. I stand by my comments earlier. I just want to urge the board to deny this motion. Let's go back to square one. Let's have a public hearing. Let's hash out all the issues. And then once we come to an agreement on what needs to be in an ordinance, if we indeed need an ordinance, then let's turn it over to our attorney and have him draft up something that we can all live with. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Online?
I have a short comment. Alan, this is Josh from Pocono.
Okay. Go ahead, Josh.
Well, you know, the First Amendment right to free speech is something that we all as Americans hold dear. And we cannot underplay this or lead it to frivolity. The most important thing is to remember that permit process will allow the township to gain some control over something that could be unruly. But requiring a content neutral permit for large demonstrations in the park is lawful. And the time, place, and manner regulation helps protect both children and protesters without silencing anybody's views. The First Amendment allows reasonably, narrowly tailored rules in traditional public
Thank you, George.
forums
Your
like
time's up.
parks. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else online? No. We have a roll call vote.
Commissioner Lee,
Yes.
Commissioner Velarde. Yep. Commissioner Ganant,
Yes.
Commissioner Long,
Yeah.
Commissioner Kepler. Nay.
Motion carried.
Yes.
I'm going to skip the next thing on the agenda because that has to do with the ordinance, so we might as well just, I would assume, wait. So that's all.
So we should postpone it indefinitely
Okay.
or postpone it to, well, we don't know when the solicitor is going to have this done for us, so we should probably postpone it indefinitely. So we should take it from the table and then postpone it.
Can I just make a motion to postpone?
I believe we have to take it from the table first. That would be the order of business. I don't recall. I left my book at home today. I don't recall if we can just leave it in suspense on the table and let it, die at the end of the meeting, or if we need to pull it and postpone it indefinitely.
Do we even, I don't know that we need to do anything. Leo, can we just skip?
Yeah, it's the discretion of the board. I mean, you can table it.
It should come back because we're supposed to have a debate on whether or not we postpone it. Laying it on the table doesn't provide the minority opportunity to debate the measure, whereas a motion to postpone would. So we really should take it from the table and then, without debate, and then motion to postpone it.
Okay, go ahead and do that.
I'll make the motion to take. I'll make the motion to take the No, wait. I don't want to make that motion. Never mind.
Okay. Then we're going to skip it. Okay, next.
Pleasure, the president.
On the next one, Pat, can you just explain why you were doing that?
On the bid materials?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you recall last meeting, we had opened the bid and we were disappointed to find that there were a lack of bidders. And the few items that were bid that we found were so far from the township that it was impractical to utilize them for what we were bidding. So based on our discussion with the board last meeting, we did include the results of the bid for the board. And I would ask, I think it's most practical that the board reject the bids. And then there's another provision, and I've asked Mr. Tressler to be prepared to speak on it tonight. There's two other provisions, right? We can purchase the materials that we need through CoStars, and there's also another provision for bidding. The township would love to take that.
Okay. Okay.
Is that what you're asking us?
Yeah. I didn't want to make the motion without knowing what I'm motioning here.
All right.
So I'll make the motion to reject all material bids received.
Second.
Discussion? Public comment? Anyone online? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Yeah.
Would you like me to advise on the next item as well?
Yeah, hang on. Mike is telling me I missed one and I don't know which one I missed.
I think we postponed the proposed changes to the park ordinance, but the one about the liability release.
Oh, okay.
Assumption.
Yep, I'm gonna skip that too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. Because that all goes hand in hand. And I think Leo was talking about no waivers, so I think we'll come back to that. If that's, yeah, okay. Thank you though. Now the next one is a motion, I'll make a motion to waive the zoning permit fees for Pocono Heritage Land Trust trailhead sign.
I'll second that.
I think Mike did.
Oh, sorry.
Discussion? Any public comment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we're moving on to our individual reports. I just want to announce that the Environmental Advisory Council meeting will be held June 18th from 6 to 7 in this room here. And that the Park Board meeting will be held June 23rd at 1 p.m. And I'm going to have to ask, is that going to be here also? Yes, Erica? Okay, that will be also in this room. And that's all I have. Matt?
I'm good.
Natasha? Mike?
Yeah, I hear an awful lot of people hissing and moaning about data centers. And how many people in this room have actually built one? How many people in this room have actually worked in one? Okay, now, you all know how your car radiator works, right? The water gets recirculated. It's not like your car is leaving a trail of dirty antifreeze as it goes. Same thing with data center and the water that they use for cooling. Okay? They don't take it out of the Pocono Creek and then boom, put it back in the Pocono Creek all polluted. No. A lot of data centers have closed loop systems for cooling. And they use gray water, which is, well, water you can't drink anyway. They use that as part of their cooling system. Now, the concern that people may have is, well, Core 5 might be a data center. Hey, if Core 5 is a data center, no trucks, no damage to the roadways, there's going to be half a dozen employees there, and it's not going to put a burden on that. But they don't have the electrical infrastructure there anyway. But my point is, data centers are not the boogeyman. Data centers, you like your internet, you like making the things on the internet, you like AI. Okay, AI is not going to take away jobs, it's going to create jobs, especially for people who build data centers. So I just want people to know that data centers are not the boogeyman. They are a necessary part of the 21st century.
Okay, Charles?
Yes, I just had two brief things to report. I attended the homeowners association meeting for Pocono Mountain Civic Community Club Incorporated. For those of you who don't know, it's a smaller community up Sullivan Trail. They're in dire straits up there. They could really use some help. Their roads are washed out. They desperately need help from the township. I know that when Jared was on the board, we had met with a member of the community. I've gotten in touch now with the president of the board, who doesn't actually live in the community, so he was a little bit difficult to reach, but I managed to get in touch with him. I'd like to put him in touch with our township staff to hopefully see if there's any assistance we can provide. I know that when we had sat down previously, we had mentioned we might be able to help them with cindering the road. They said that they have access to cinders. And they just need a way to transport them. So like perhaps, the township could help them with a truck or something like that for an afternoon.
This is a private road?
This is in a homeowners association in Pocono Mountain Civic Community Club. The community, it comes down like the side of Sullivan Trail, down the side of the mountain there. The roads are like completely washed out. It's a public safety hazard.
But it's not our roads.
No, it's not a township road. So,
we can't touch them, I don't think.
well, I think we can provide assistance. We couldn't, put money into it, but we could, allow a truck to go in there and give them a hand. I think that's not.
I'm going to defer that to her.
Well, I'm not making a motion tonight. I'm just mentioning it because I had sat down and talked with them. I don't know exactly what all the laws are regarding it, but I do want to see if we can help them in some way because the community is in very bad condition. And you know, the folks there, they don't have money. They're having a really hard time getting dues from people because a lot of the houses are in foreclosure and like property sales and stuff like that. So that was the first part of my report. I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention, just let them know that I was having those conversations, and you know, hopefully I'll have more information in the near future. I'm hoping to get one of our state representatives out to walk through the area and see what's going on.
Don't do that. You should bring it up here and do that.
No, that's silly. No, the people there are very friendly. I walked through and knocked all the doors in there on my campaign. Everyone there is very, very nice. And then second, regarding data centers, I just wanted to mention this because I've seen a lot of talk of this online about the data center overlay on the Core 5 site. Just so everyone's aware, we're in the process of repealing that overlay. I think it's very low probability that the developer for Core 5 would submit a new land development plan to make it into a data center. Technically, they could with the overlay that's there, although we're in the process of repealing it. But they would need to reapply for all of their waivers that they were granted. So, you know, I think it's unlikely they do that. They went into it not expecting to have to put up, you know, in our data center ordinance, we also have the requirement now that they put up the escrow account for the decommissioning. They would now have to put that up, which is, you know, a brand new expense that they weren't anticipating when they originally proposed this. So I think it's very unlikely they would propose a data center. And even if they did, we still have the curative amendment process we could fall back on that would allow us to basically kick the can on approving any plans until our curative amendment is passed. And seeing as we're already in the process of drafting that amendment, it should be, you know, it should be pretty fairly mitigated. So I just want the residents to rest assured that the township does have their eye on this. And I'm fairly confident from my perspective with everything I've seen and everything I've learned that residents should be safe from a data center coming onto the Core 5 site.
Thank you.
That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Pat or Jim as manager?
Just a few items. So I did get a request from an individual who is seeking a rental of township space for an HOA meeting. As you know, we don't have a provision for that. We don't have a rental form. So what I asked Erica to start working on, and she and I are going to be working on it together, is something to bring to the board for your consideration to see about, you know, what it would look like to rent the meeting hall here under certain circumstances. So I'll be providing that to the board for you to do with it as you wish. The TLC Park Bridge construction continues. The concrete abutment was poured there. John can probably talk maybe a little bit more detail about it. I think I did forward the board a photo of it, but they're continuing. The contractor seems to be doing a nice job. I've asked them to be mindful of the use of TLC with the splash pad open, and they've been pretty cooperative with that, really trying to keep their operation tight and not impacting the other folks that are using the park. Unfortunately, there was a dog park incident that was addressed by the police promptly. Thanks, Jim, for taking care of that. It was addressed. Just so folks know, dogs have to play nicely. We do have cameras over there. If you don't play nicely, something happens, we will follow up because we want everybody to have a safe experience over there. So thanks again, Jim, for taking care of that. Touch a Truck this weekend. It's a big event that Erica's been working hard on. So hopefully folks can come out to that. And last item on the sewer side, we have a change out at Valve Station 1 this week. So that's a project we'll be working on.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Where's the event, Patrick? Where is the event?
It's down at Old Municipal property.
The old municipal building.
Municipal, okay.
Fire company will be there serving food. So please come gobble up some food and support the fire company.
Thank you, Pat.
You're welcome.
Jim? Oh, okay. Thank you. Paul?
So we issued 42 permits this period, 15 for zoning, 21 for building, 2 driveway, 1 TDU, 3 well permits. And we issued 14 certificate of occupancies. 3 were for new construction, 2 residential, 1 commercial. We issued 5 NOVs, 2 for property maintenance, 1 for construction without permits, 1 for keeping of chickens and goats on a property without permits, and 1 for a TDU noise complaint. We closed 11 violations for TDU, junk, construction, signs, and other miscellaneous items. We do have 2 zoning hearing board meetings coming up. So one for 1328 Golden Slipper that was previously discussed. The signs. Leo will be attending that one as previously approved. That is scheduled for the 23rd. We do have another one that is on the agenda. It is for 1842. There is a site plan attached to the back of the report. So this was a house that was built on a existing foundation with a small addition on the back, completely tore down to the foundation and then rebuilt. The addition on the back is actually encroaching on the rear setback. There was some miscommunication between the owner and the surveyor. They thought the property line went from at the southwest corner it didn't have that pin in the middle, they believe. So they set the building back and kind of built it in the wrong location. So the discretion of the board, if we want to take a position, to give you kind of a general idea of the surrounding neighborhood. So behind this property, roughly 40 feet behind the rear property line, it is a stream. So they meet the stormwater buffers. Everything for the floodplain is met with the addition as it's encroaching. So there's no issue on that end. The property behind there would be wetlands, so no one would be able to develop that. So there wouldn't be a future home back there or any other kind of future use that may be affected by this. And then the property off to the west on this map, or excuse me, the east on this map, is also kind of the stream cuts up at an angle. They meet the setbacks, all that for impervious, or excuse me, stormwater floodplains. No one would be able to kind of build a house on that property as well. So the encroachment would be de minimis in the zoning's kind of eyes. It's kind of up to the board if they want to make a determination.
So what was the setback and how far are they outside of that?
So the definitions for the rear setback are a little vague in the zoning ordinance. The rear setback is the lot line opposite and most distinct from the front line. So the way this is kind of angled, they could come in and argue that the kind of corner should be called a side lot instead of the rear. They could make that argument if we took a position against them. They would only be encroaching. It would be 25 for a side, 40 for a rear. If we considered that kind of bump out 40 feet, they'd be encroaching. They're 22 feet from it. The side yard, they'd only require 25. So either way, they're encroaching. It's just if we would consider it 40 or 25, and would we argue either way?
So are you saying it should have been 40 and it's only 25?
I would consider it 40. If they came in and argued against it, I could see a judge going either way or the zoning hearing board going either way. Again, because the ordinance is kind of vague, the rear lot line is the most distant from the front. So the front would be against Sullivan at the north part of this. So they could argue that only that rear straight part would be considered a rear setback.
47 feet now.
Yes.
And our ordinance is 40.
Yes.
But you're saying this little one on the side potentially could be where they're only 22.
Yep. So on their survey, they showed it as 40. If you see the dashed line on that survey, that shows where the property line would be for 40 feet. Again, they could probably argue 25 for a side yard. So either way, they'd still be encroaching, so they need to get a variance either way. Just kind of depends if we want to spend the money to have the solicitor go out there and argue against it or not take a position.
This is before the zoning hearing board.
Yes.
Oh, they'll decide it, right?
Yeah. And either way, zoning will be there to answer any questions, kind of lay out, same thing I kind of laid out here for the zoning hearing board. Other than that, if there's no questions on that or anything else on the report, that's all I have.
I have a question.
Yes.
The trailer on 715.
So I did do that. I did forget to put or try to get a motion on here. Potentially for the next meeting, we may want to do it as a dangerous structure and have a formal motion to have the zoning office investigate that as a dangerous structure. There is kind of, when I was doing a inspection on that, the building is much more dilapidated than we originally thought. Roof is kind of caving in, but again, we would want a formal kind of motion to have the zoning office approved to investigate it further.
So you need that on our next agenda?
Yes, so
Madam Chair, we moved on from Pat really quickly. I just had a couple of quick questions for him. While we're
Can I ask my question to Paul?
oh
first
yeah,
before you
please,
start?
yeah.
Thank
So,
you.
Paul, yeah.
Paul, can we, and obviously if it needs a motion for next meeting, that's fine. Can we revisit that structure on Laurel Lake Road to the left of Laurel Lake? So that came up last year, if you remember, because there was a crack in the garage. And at that point, I argued against it because it was just a crack. However, I think a tree fell on it. So like literally the entire back half of that garage is now gone. And now, in my opinion, it would 100% be considered a dangerous structure. So can we kind of look at that?
again, if the board is okay with us putting in a motion, then it'd be a formal vote that the board would be able to vote on for next agenda.
Look at?
I'll make that motion.
I'm saying, so to just look at it, I'm not asking you to.
Yeah, when
So
the
just
tree
to look
originally
at it?
fell, me and Jared took a look at it, and because it was, again, I think it was like a month after that motion failed, it happened. So, but again, I can drive by, take a look at it, and then put it on the
If it's
agenda.
termination, if it, then put a motion.
If you could just send us an email and then we'll stick it on the next agenda if we need to take action.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Go ahead.
Charles, yes.
We moved on.
So I just wanted to follow up on the AED. I don't remember what did we do at the last meeting? Did we make a motion to do anything or?
Yes, so our solicitor looked at the agreement.
Yes.
And we'll have that on the next agenda.
Oh, lovely.
For approval.
Fantastic. I also wanted to ask you about, I was speaking to somebody from the land trust the other day about the trail from the municipal building here down to TLC Park. I know that they had wanted, they own the property and they wanted to go through and clean it up. They said that they were just, they were waiting on something from the township regarding the Weiss old sewage fields or something like that back behind the building before they got onto the septic. What's going on with that? Because I just like a little more information.
So there's a few things that we've been working on with Pocono Heritage Land Trust. One of the items was approved by the board tonight.
Yeah.
That's the sign, which we're cooperating with them. The township also removed an old dangerous ashtray so that they could continue to do their work. With respect to the Weiss building or the Weiss property, Interlaco property, there is an on-site septic field that was abandoned in a proper fashion through the township's requirements when they connected the sewer. That's what they're referencing. The thing that I need to get my hands around, and I haven't been able to do it yet, is with our sewage enforcement officer and also looking at what property Pocono Heritage Land Trust owns and what property is an easement that they have across to other people's property. I believe in Interlaco's situation, the property is owned by Interlaco, but they've granted an easement. So I want to look at what the dimension of that easement is and how that relates to where their abandoned septic field is.
Yeah.
So give me a little time to work on that. Then
Okay. I just wanted to ask about it because they had asked me about it and I was like, I don't know anything about this. So I just wanted to get read in on it a little bit so I had a better understanding of what exactly was going on because I think that getting that trail up and running between the municipal building and the park would be a beautiful thing. So yeah, I'd love to see that, especially right along the river there. It's a really pretty spot.
It is.
And I believe that was all I had for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. John?
Thank you, Alan.
Starting with Swiftwater Solar, DEP held a hearing last Tuesday. This was with regard to the dirty water discharges. They had told Swiftwater Solar to do some exploratory investigations of their discharge pipes, which Swiftwater Solar did. They found one that was severely separated, which is definitely going to need a repair. The other two, that was in basin 308. I think 305 and 303 were also investigated. They did not have near the differential settlement in the outlet pipes that 308 had. And there's some ongoing discussions between DEP and Swiftwater as to what they might do with those two basins. But there was a pretty serious defect found, which will be corrected on that. A lot of our work, we did a lot of review over the past couple of years, and now that has resulted in a lot of inspection work. So we're inspecting right now, we're inspecting at Brookstead. They've broken ground. Brookdale Spa is ongoing. Erger Wawa is ongoing. Core 5 is, we all know, is ongoing, and Dole Brand Hotel. We did discover there's a discrepancy in sidewalk alignment between Erdel Wawa going across the intersection down to Dole Brand Hotel. So we're trying to resolve that with PennDOT. Patrick mentioned earlier about TLC Park. There's been a lot of coordination. We've got two different contractors, one supplying the bridge, one building the abutments, but they've been working well together. We're coordinating. The work looks good. As Pat said, they poured the foundation for the easterly wing wall and abutment. They're going to pour the easterly abutment tomorrow, and they're hoping to pour the wing walls on Thursday, which would complete that side of the bridge. Then they'll move over to the side closest to the splash pad and start there. And the only other item I have, Pat had mentioned earlier about the materials bids. We had discussed whether the board may want us to put them on Penn Bid. Penn Bid does do material bids. You might get a better reaction or a bigger group of contractors bidding if we were to load it up on the Penn Bid, which is where we do most of our projects anyway. But that would be the board's pleasure.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to do that. And then if that comes in that they're too high, we could
Reject them again.
right? You can
Yep.
move over to
Go
CoStars.
to CoStar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had another township do the exact same thing. They wanted to check against CoStars. We ended up rejecting the bid and going with CoStars in the end.
So I don't think we don't need a motion for that, right? We just do that if we're going to rebid.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's all I have unless there's any questions.
Anybody have anything for John? Okay. Leo?
Thank you, Ellen. Two matters this evening. The draft of the proposed amendment for the data center ordinance has been circulated, received comments from two commissioners. I believe that they've been answered. Having heard no others, and so everybody knows, the proposed amendment for the data center ordinance actually does away with the data center overlay district and permits data centers in the industrial district only. That's the proposed amendment. Having heard no further comments and believing that the other comments have been addressed, may I have the authorization to submit the data center ordinance to the planning commissions and schedule a hearing?
Do you need that in a motion or just administratively?
I thought that was the motion that we had originally adopted to refer to the planning commission.
We've already done it. Okay.
Yeah.
So that motion, okay, well, can I schedule a hearing then? We'll get it out to them because I was sent out, it was revised, sent out May 20th, which was between meetings. So now I need to get it out to the planning commissions for review and comment and also schedule a hearing.
Yeah. So they need, how many, they need time though, right?
30 days. They're required to have 30 days.
Okay.
I would look
Yeah.
at 45 days. We'll get it out right away, but 45 days for the hearing.
Would we have to amend the agenda to get that added on?
Well, we can actually do that, I think, at the next meeting to do the advertising.
Yeah, if Commissioner Kepler's memory serves him correctly, and I believe it does, we'll get it out for review to the planning commissions. And then we can schedule the hearing at next meeting.
Yeah, we'll just put that on the agenda.
Yeah.
Make sure it's on the
I
agenda.
wanted to have the planning commission review it before we scheduled the hearing anyway, because I wanted to see if they had notes too, you know?
The second matter is the sewer rules and regulations have, we've resurfaced them. Spent some time. I want to thank Patrick and Mike Gable for a lot of effort that was put into reviewing those, especially on the data component of it. Check your emails. You will have those tomorrow morning. They are voluminous. They are technical. A lot of them are technical in nature. But depending on comments, I'll list it at least, I'd like to list it at least on my agenda for potential action, although depending on the comments or the questions, it may be pushed to the first meeting in July, but we're ready to move on those. That was just for information, and the request to be put on the agenda. That's all that I have at this point.
I did have a question for you, because I think I did have a question regarding the data center overlay draft. I'm looking here and I can't find a response. I didn't remember ever getting one. When I looked through the new draft, I saw that most of the definitions were struck out. Were all of the definitions that were in there related specifically to the overlays? Or
Yes.
was there, okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
I was looking through my drafts here, or through my email. I wasn't able to find it, but yeah, if there was a response, then, great.
Yeah, we just totally did away with the overlay component.
Okay, yeah, some of the definitions didn't look like they had to do with an overlay, but I'll take your word for it that they made sense.
Anything else, Leah?
That's all I have this evening. Thank you all.
Okay, with that, I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Second by Matt. All those in favor?
Yep.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
You only missed it by 45 minutes. You only missed by 45 minutes.
Right on the nose.